This is the story of a human trafficker who accidentally sold her own daughter into a ritual and was ready to burn the world to bring her back. She sold hundreds of girls. But when her own daughter landed on the altar, she turned from predator to fire. If you are yet to subscribe, please subscribe so our channel can grow. Thank you, and now back to the video. The girls always came in groups of 4. Young, desperate, hopeful. They came for modeling contracts, ushering jobs, movie roles. Some were from the village, others were from universities in the city. All were promised luxury, fame, and love. None of them knew the truth, not until it was too late. Madame Ruka stood by the tinted Prado, counting a brown envelope fat with fresh Naira notes. 2 of them go straight to Abuja, she said without blinking. The other 2? Your client in Ikeja wants virgins. These ones clean? The man in the black suit nodded. One even carry Bible come, he said, laughing. Ruka smiled coldly. Perfect. Behind her, the girls stood clueless, giggling among themselves. She turned to them, voice warm like honey. Welcome to your new life, my darlings. Don't forget to call me Mama. And just like that, the van drove off. Another delivery. Another payday. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Ufoma and Jane were cleaning the kitchen, waiting for their mother to return with groceries. They didn't know they were living off the blood of others. Not yet. Her real name was Rukayat Omalara Bakare. Born in Ilorin, raised in a polygamous home with 6 mothers and 1 father who treated wives like property and children like burdens. Her mother died when she was 11. Her father remarried 2 months later. No explanation, no mourning. Just another wife in the house. Ruka quickly learned, in this world, people move on unless you make yourself unforgettable. At 16, she left Ilorin for Lagos with 7,000 and a bag of clothes. Her cousin in Mushin gave her a foam mattress in the corner of a salon to sleep on. Ruka worked during the day, washed hair, swept floors. Then at night, she hawked gala at Ojuelegba Junction, pretending she was just passing time. That was when she met Chief Omogbemi. He was in a black Prado, tinted windows, white kaftan, gold chain on his neck, gold ring on every finger. He watched her like a man picking meat at a butcher's shop. "Come," he said through the window. Ruka paused. "I'm selling gala, sir." He smiled. "I know, I'm buying you." She should have walked away, but it was raining, and she hadn't eaten since morning. That night, she went with him. He gave her 100,000 after. She stared at the cash like it was blood. "You're sharp," Chief said. "I like that. I run a business. Girls like you can make millions." Ruka's heart sank. "I'm not a prostitute." "Good," he replied. "I don't need prostitutes. I need recruiters." That was her first test. He gave her a target. "Bring me 2 pretty girls under 20, virgin if possible. Say it's ushering work." She did it. She told herself, "They're grown. They're choosing it. I'm just the link." When she asked what he used them for, he smiled and said, "Some of us eat soup. Some of us eat destiny." She never asked again. Over the years, Ruka perfected her system. A fake fashion business in Ikeja. Social media pages with modeling job offers. Contacts at airports to smuggle passports. Uniformed officers on her payroll. Motherly warmth that lured the broken girls in. She became Madame Ruka, respected, untouchable, and discreet. She didn't need to sell sex. She sold hope. Packaged in flyers, fake promises, and filters. Then came love. She met Ayo, a carpenter from Warri, a good man. Honest, poor but kind. He never asked about her money. He just loved her for who she pretended to be. They married. She hid everything. When she gave birth to Ufoma and Jane, something shifted. She stopped going to ritual camps, started working remotely, sent Bala to do the dirt, started building walls around her daughters. No boys, no clubs, no makeup, no friends. But the business. She never stopped. Because somewhere along the way, Ruka convinced herself. But monsters always lie to themselves before they lie to the world. If you stepped into Madame Ruka's home, you'd see nothing unusual. A neatly kept duplex in a gated estate in Ogudu Gra, Lagos, white painted walls, neatly trimmed hibiscus shrubs in the yard, a black Highlander in the driveway, always spotless. From the outside, it looked like the home of a successful woman who earned her living from fashion, hard work, and prayers. Inside, however, was a world under strict control. Her daughters Euphoma, aged 19, and Jane, aged 16, were raised like royal treasures. No parties, no random friends, no sleepovers, no boys, no Instagram. Phones locked away by 9 p.m. Ruka ran her house with warmth, but underneath that softness was an unspoken rule. Nothing must threaten her daughter's purity or future. "Don't be like the girls out there," she often told them. "They're chasing what won't last. Your body is sacred. Keep it that way." Euphoma, the quiet, intelligent one, had just begun her first year in mass communication at Unilag. Reserved, soft-spoken, bookish. She idolized her mother. Jane was different, hot-headed, curious, and emotionally sharp for her age. She didn't fear Ruka's discipline, she feared disappointing her. To the girls, their mother was the gold standard. Strong, independent, loving. She had raised them alone since their father died in a tragic car accident a decade ago. She never brought men home. She never exposed them to gossip. All they saw was grace and strength. That night, as usual, she came home late. "Sorry, darlings," she said as she stepped in, holding plastic takeout bags. "The boutique kept me on my feet today." They all sat down at the dining table to eat. The lights were warm, the television played softly in the background, and the smell of grilled fish filled the room. Jane chattered on about a school trip to Ibadan. Euphoma mentioned a lecturer who kept making weird comments about her legs. Ruka smiled and gave gentle advice, nodding between bites. She laughed when Jane made a joke about marriage and rolled her eyes when Euphoma said she wanted to start a vlog. But her mind wasn't there. Inside her handbag, her second phone buzzed silently. A message sat on the screen. "Madam R, there is fire on the mountain. One girl escaped the ritual camp. She'd a post online and her story don reached TikTok." Ruka's stomach tightened. She excused herself and entered her bedroom, locking the door. Her heart pounded. On her dresser was a photo of her husband, gentle eyes, quiet smile, forever frozen in time. He died thinking she was a boutique owner, a good woman, a safe woman. She stared at herself in the mirror, wiped the sweat off her brow, picked up her second phone and called a number. "Get me Bala," she whispered. "Now, we need to take that girl out before people start asking questions." She ended the call, then whispered another prayer. "God, protect my daughters. Let their light never enter the darkness I live in." But even God was turning his face, because blood cries louder than prayer. The day after the video dropped, Ruka acted like nothing happened. She made breakfast herself, yam and scrambled eggs, kissed her daughters on their foreheads, and dropped Jane off at school like any other morning. But inside, she was boiling. Her brain ran like a machine, shut down all social media, scrub the fake profiles, delete backups, warn her girls not to talk to strangers. She even considered changing their schools. But evil has a way of creeping through even the smallest cracks. And one of those cracks was already inside her home. Euphoma had her own troubles. Her classmate in school, a loud girl named Shally, had just gotten a new iPhone and flashy clothes from some big man she met through a modeling gig. Shally swore it was legit. She gave Euphoma the contact. "Lux faces Africa. We need fine girls like you," the rep said when Euphoma messaged. "We're shooting a tourism campaign in Kenya. Travel, luxury, connections." Euphoma had been skeptical at first. But then the woman sent her official-looking flyers, photos from a recent shoot, and even names of past models. And most convincing of all, the name Madam R appeared as one of the top agents. What goes around comes around is how they say it, but this time what goes around will knock Madam R off her feet. Unknown to her, her own daughter was talking to the front she uses to traffic girls. Outside the house, someone sat in a car, engine off, watching the windows. He made a call. "Yes, they're in, both of them. Just say when." The next morning, Ruka was nowhere to be found. She'd left early, claiming she had a supplier meeting. But that was a lie. She was meeting Bala, the same man she had ordered to silence the escaped girl. The girl's video had been pulled down from some sites, but it was already saved, reposted, and reshared. The genie was out of the bottle. "Find the girl. Find the blog. Burn it all," she ordered. Bala nodded. Then he asked something that froze her blood. "You still want protect those girls? 'Cause he be like say people don't they watch them." Ruka's face hardened. "Let me hear say anybody touch them, I'll burn Lagos." 4 years earlier, Ibadan outskirts. The warehouse was dark, smelled like petrol, sweat, and old metal. In the center, a man hung by his wrists, body swollen, face barely recognizable. His breathing was shallow, his lips purple. His name was Timmy, Bala's younger brother. He had been one of Senator Oduwale's couriers, small-time runner for ritual deliveries. Quiet, obedient, loyal. But when a shipment went missing, 25 million worth of rare ritual goods, the senator didn't ask questions. He pointed fingers, and Timmy became the scapegoat. He talked, Oduwale said. He warned the police. He switched sides. It wasn't true, but truth didn't matter. The order was simple. Break him, then bury him. Bala found out 3 days later. By the time he got to the compound, Timmy had already stopped screaming. He just shivered, skin burned, teeth missing, bones broken. "Why didn't you tell me?" Bala yelled at the guards. They shrugged. Oga said loose ends must go. Bala begged, threatened, even offered to take his place. But nothing moved Oduwale. Not until Madame Ruka stepped in. She came quietly. No entourage, no jewelry, just a shawl and silence. She walked past the guards like she owned the building, straight to the cage where Timmy was tied and bleeding. Her eyes studied his swollen face, trembling lips, open wounds. Then she turned to Bala. "You want your brother to live?" He nodded, tears choking his throat. "Then do exactly what I say. No questions, no fear." He nodded again. But what Bala didn't know was that Ruka wasn't just helping out of mercy. She was remembering. Years ago, before she became Madame R, when she was still doing small drops for the cult elite, she'd watched them beat a young girl to death over a rumor. 17, still had braces. They said she stole from a senator's convoy. She didn't. Ruka knew she didn't. But she kept quiet. Because back then, she needed favor. The girl died screaming. They threw her body in the lagoon like meat. And Ruka never forgot. No one saved her, she thought as she looked at Timmy. But now I have the power to save this one, so I will. Not because she was kind, but because she refused to be a bystander twice. "I didn't save him out of kindness," she would say years later. "I saved him because I couldn't live with being that coward again. And besides, she saw something in Bala, something dangerous, something rare, a man who would die for someone he loved. That kind of loyalty, you don't destroy it. You recruit it. You own it." That night, Ruka faked Timmy's death. She injected him with a sedative that slowed his pulse, wrapped his body in black plastic, told the guards he was dead. They loaded him into a van. Bala drove. They passed through 3 police checkpoints, no questions asked. Ruka had already greased every palm along the route. By morning, they were across the Benin Republic border. By noon, Timmy had a new name, a new passport, and a doctor in Cotonou stitching him back together. Ruka never asked for thanks. She just handed Bala a burner phone and said, "If I ever call, pick. If I ever say move, move. And if anyone ever touches my daughters, they disappear." From that day forward, Bala wasn't just a gun for hire. He was hers. She sat alone in the parlor, second phone in hand, watching the blog posts pile up like curses. She'd tried reaching her connections, the senator, the Baba in Sagamu, the DPO in Ikeja, but all of them had gone quiet. Then the call came. Unknown number, no caller ID, but she knew the voice. "Senator Oduwale. You've disappointed me, Ruka. Sir, please. Shut up. One girl escapes and now the world is shaking. You think I worked this hard to be dragged down by one of my own? I'm cleaning it, I swear. Bala's on it." There was a long pause. Then he spoke with ice in his voice. "You have 48 hours to deliver me to someone. A replacement. I don't care how. I want a fresh girl, pure, or I will collect what you owe me. Ruka's chest tightened. Sir, I don't owe. You owe me peace, he snapped. You owe me silence, and you owe me blood. I can get blood myself, from your house. Don't tempt me. He ended the call. Ruka sat frozen, tears rolling down without permission. For the first time in years, she was the prey, not the predator. Her hands were shaking, her body cold, her mind screaming. She had done terrible things, but not her girls, not Jane, not Euphoma. She wouldn't let evil touch them, even if she had to die first. She grabbed her black ledger, names, dates, payments, faces. She picked up her pistol from the bedroom drawer and paced. She had two choices: run, fight, but both options risked her daughters. The night was thick with tension. Ruka hadn't slept in days. The senator's warning played over and over in her head like a curse she couldn't shake. Deliver me a girl or I'll take one of yours. She had built her entire life on control, but now her system was cracking and so were her nerves. She had gone through her black book 4 times. No one was clean, no girl was fresh, no name could save her. Bala had gone silent. Her money couldn't help her, her past couldn't protect her. She was drowning. And then, her second phone lit up. A message from one of the trafficking fronts Lux faces Africa. She opened the message absent-mindedly. Subject: new candidate secured, high quality. Madam R. We've identified a prime new candidate, female, age 19, client in Abuja confirmed, virgin status probable, interview successful. She'll be delivered Friday morning. Awaiting your confirmation for handover. LFA admin. Number code. Sunrise package. Ruka let out a slow breath of relief. Finally, a girl had been found. She didn't know who. She didn't care. She just knew one thing. She and her kids are safe. Euphoma was wide awake, staring at her closet, deciding what to wear. Jane, she whispered, slipping into her sister's room. I know it's late, but do you think this white blouse works, or is it giving too much church? Jane groaned. I beg, what time is your interview again? 10. But they said I have to arrive alone. No phone, just myself and my energy. Jane sat up now, frowning. Why all the secrecy, though? Because it's exclusive. That's how luxury brands move. Clean, quiet, elite. She twirled. I just want to do something that makes Mummy proud, you know. All her life she's worked for us. It's time I showed her I can be more, that I can win. Jane stared at her. There was so much she wanted to say, so many warnings crawling in her throat. But she bit her tongue and just nodded. Meanwhile, Ruka stood by her bedroom window, watching the street. The weight of her decision pressed on her chest like concrete. Another girl's life, another sacrifice. But it wasn't her daughter. That's all that mattered. She sent back a reply. Confirmed. Delivery cleared. Ensure it's clean. Then she lit a cigarette and whispered to the night, God forgive me. Just this last one. Let this be the last. But the devil was already laughing. The morning sun rose lazily over Lekki, painting the skies with gold and ash. Euphoma stood in front of the tall glass building with butterflies in her stomach. Her blouse was neatly pressed, her makeup light and tasteful, and her shoes polished like she was going to meet God. She looked up at the tinted windows and smiled. This is it, my new beginning. Inside, the lobby was sleek white marble floors, framed photos of past models in exotic locations, and a subtle lavender scent in the air. A dark-skinned receptionist in a navy blue uniform smiled and handed her a form. Welcome to Lux Faces Africa. Please join the others inside. You'll be screened shortly. Others? Euphoma turned and her heart skipped. There were at least 15 girls in the waiting room. Young, pretty, excited, nervous, some snapping selfies, some whispering prayers. They all looked like her hopeful, ambitious, clueless. One girl smiled at her. First time? Euphoma nodded. Yeah. They say they're picking just 5 for a campaign in Nairobi. But even if you don't get picked, you still get placed somewhere in South Africa or Dubai. Really? The girl giggled. That's what the last set said. One girl even went to Turkey. Euphoma smiled faintly, her nerves growing. She looked around the room, the velvet chairs, the cameras, the locked doors. Something felt off, but she shook it off. This is luxury. Maybe this is what elite looks like. Just then, an announcement echoed through the hallway. All candidates, please proceed to screening line. Madam R will address you shortly. The girls stood and formed a line like pageant contestants waiting to be crowned. A tall man in a suit with dark glasses began inspecting them. Hair, teeth, height, skin. One girl was told to remove her earrings, another was told to smile wider. Everything felt robotic. Eufoma's turn was next, but her stomach suddenly twisted. She leaned toward the assistant. Please, sorry, where's the restroom? The woman pointed toward the hallway. She rushed off, heels clicking. Back in the screening room, the double doors swung open. The room fell silent as heels clicked softly against the marble. Ruka entered like she owned the air. Draped in black silk, her scarf tied like a crown, and dark shades masking her eyes, she moved with the confidence of a woman untouched by chaos. The only thing louder than her presence was her silence. She stopped in front of the line of girls and looked them over. Then she smiled soft, deliberate, and motherly. Welcome to Lux Faces Africa. I don't know your stories. I don't know what brought you here. But if you made it through our doors, then I know one thing about you for sure. You want more. More than what your family said you deserved. More than what the streets offered you. More than what Lagos tried to steal from you. She paced gently. The world is full of pretty girls, but not all of them have presence. Not all of them have the will to transform themselves. Here, we don't just take pictures, we shape futures. We don't just wear brands, we become the brand. She passed each girl slowly, letting the weight of her words hang. If you're here for quick fame, leave now. If you're here to party, leave now. But if you're ready to become a woman of value, a woman the world can't ignore, then welcome home. She turned, her voice cool and final. The journey begins today. Stay poised, stay silent, stay obedient. And remember, the world only gives to those who know how to disappear. The girls clapped lightly, hypnotized. Ruka gave one final look, then exited. Seconds later, Euphoma returned from the restroom, wiping her lip gloss and adjusting her blouse. What did I miss? She whispered to the girl beside her. She already left. Madame R gave a short welcome and dipped. They're doing second screening now. Euphoma sighed, disappointed. She really wanted to impress her. She didn't know she just missed her mother by 5 seconds. She didn't know she'd already been approved for export. She didn't know the file on the agent's table read, Number Sunrise Package. Euphoma Ruka Ayo. Status, cleared for transport. Location, Abuja client site. Ritual grade confirmed. And Ruka? She had no idea her firstborn daughter was already on the manifest. As Ruka stepped back into her private wing, the applause from the girls still echoing faintly behind her, her phone buzzed. Senator Oduwole. She paused, composed herself, then answered. Good morning, sir. His voice came through like slow poison. Rich, controlled, sharp. Madam Ruka, he drawled. You never disappoint. She stayed silent. Swift response. Clean files. Multiple girls this time. Even threw in a few campus ones. Very ripe. I must commend your efficiency. Ruka swallowed, keeping her tone neutral. Thank you, sir. I promised to fix the mess. I did. A pause. Then his voice darkened. But you also promised to remove the leak, and yet, the girl who made the video is still breathing. She wasn't silenced, she was celebrated. The blog is still active. Anonymous exposés. TikTok reposts. You've made me a hashtag. Her grip on the phone tightened. I'm handling it. You're late. He chuckled softly, wickedly. But don't worry. You've bought yourself some time. For now, once this new batch gets delivered, maybe I'll let the noise die down. Ruka's throat felt dry. And Ruka, he added, voice sharp now, I hope for your sake that none of these girls are close to home. You know what I do to liars. Click. He ended the call. Ruka stood frozen, staring at her reflection in the dark mirror beside the hallway. Her face looked composed, but behind her sunglasses, her eyes were burning. She didn't know the senator's warning was prophecy, because this time, the girl was home. That evening, Madame Ruka returned home for the first time in days without a storm chasing her mind. No death threats, no screaming voices in her head, no blood on her hands at least, not fresh blood. Just silence. For the first time in weeks, she felt calm. The house was clean, the lights were dimmed. A pot of egusi soup sat on the stove, still warm, and Jane was curled on the sofa, flipping through a school notebook, half distracted by the television. Ruka exhaled and dropped her bag on the center table. "Where's your sister?" Jane didn't look up. She said she had something to do, school stuff. Ruka narrowed her eyes. "At this hour?" "She left since morning. Maybe the group project ran late or..." "She didn't call, she didn't text. That's not like Ufoma." Jane swallowed. "Maybe her battery died." Ruka stared at her. Her instincts stirred. She walked into the kitchen. No sign of Ufoma's bag, no slippers at the door, no light scent of her coconut shampoo in the hallway. Time ticked. 5:30 p.m. 7 p.m. 8:14 p.m. Still no Ufoma. She called. Switched off. She texted. Undelivered. Then her voice dropped an octave. "Jane." Jane flinched. "Where is your sister?" Jane stood slowly, her hands trembling. "Mummy, please, don't shout." "I'm not shouting yet." "She didn't want me to say anything. She just wanted to make you proud. She said you've suffered enough, that you deserve peace, that she wants to help." Ruka took a slow step forward. "What did she do?" Jane's voice cracked. "She went for a modeling job. She said it's legit, that they picked her for a brand in Kenya. She was so happy. She didn't want you to worry until after the meeting." Silence. Heavy silence. Ruka blinked. "What agency?" Jane hesitated. "Lux Faces." Time stopped. Ruka's ears rang. The room spun. Lux Faces. Her agency, the same brand she greenlit just 24 hours ago. The same one she'd sent off that sunrise package through. Oh God. She staggered back, hitting the wall. Her legs buckled. Where did they say she was going? When? They gave her a pickup address. A black van came this morning. She thought it was just transport to the studio. She even wore your perfume. Ruka's heart crashed into her ribs. She grabbed her second phone, searched the inbox, opened the manifest. Number sunrise package. Ufoma Ruka, Ayo. Status, in transit. Destination, Abuja client site. Client, Oduwole. Grade, ritual confirmed. She screamed. A deep, animal scream, not of pain. Of something worse. Regret. She threw the phone across the room. Then turned to Jane, eyes wide, face pale. How long ago did they take her? Since morning. Ruka checked the time. 8:45 p.m. It was too late. Or almost. She ran for her car keys. Jane grabbed her hand. "Mummy, what's happening? Where's Ufoma?" Ruka's voice broke. "I gave her to them." Jane's knees gave out. And Ruka, now shaking, whispered through her tears. "I sold my own daughter." Ruka sat on the floor, her back against the wall, phone still in hand, staring at her daughter's name on the delivery manifest. Her mouth was dry, her soul empty. Then, with trembling fingers, she did the one thing she swore she'd never do again. She called Senator Oduwole. He picked before the second ring. "I was wondering when you'd call." Her voice was thin, cracked. "You took my daughter." He chuckled. "Ah, so you finally checked. Good. I wanted to see how long it would take before you realized the price." "You knew." I confirmed after her file landed on my desk. "Funny thing, I almost cancelled the delivery out of respect for you. But when I saw her..." He exhaled. "Ruka, your daughter is divine. Clean, quiet, innocent. You did well." Her blood boiled. "So I made a choice," he continued. "She won't be exported. No temples, no buyers. I will enjoy her for now before she sell her off to the highest bidder. You built this empire. Let me enjoy its finest product. Don't be stingy. Don't you dare touch my child, she screamed. Senator, know your limits. Or what? He laughed, unbothered. You'll bite the finger that feeds you? You'll end the system you designed? Don't forget, Madam R, this blood money built your house, fed your daughters, clothed them. You sold others. Now it's your turn to lose. That's how balance works. Ruka's hand was shaking. Her breathing was uneven. Her heart had turned to fire. She said nothing, just ended the call. Then she stood, grabbed her keys, opened the drawer, loaded her pistol. She turned to Jane, pale, crying, stunned. Her voice was low, deadly. He touched what's mine. Now I'm touching everything he loves. She stormed out of the house. Senator Ayodeji Oduwole was not born a monster. He became one, piece by piece, body by body, sacrifice by sacrifice. The first time he tasted blood, he was 27. It was a minor ritual, nothing too elaborate. A boy's tongue, a goat's heart, a black candle, 3 chants under the Ogun River. But it worked. The next week, he won a contract worth 40 million. So he went again, and again, and again. By 39, he had a convoy, a seat in the Senate, and enough buried secrets to fill a cemetery. But the spirits? They always wanted more. Power is not fed with gold, his priest once told him. It is fed with what you love most. So he gave them his driver's son. 6 years old, big eyes, missing poster. No one blinked. 2 months later, he was re-elected unopposed. He started sleeping better, until the gods asked for something bigger. Bring us blood from your own house. And he did. Her name was Temelade Oduwola. 15 years old, his only daughter. She liked to hum while she braided his hair. She made him breakfast every Sunday morning. He didn't hesitate. He sent her to the ritual camp in Sagamu under the guise of a scholarship retreat. She never came back. He told the world she was sent abroad for school. He even paid actors to post photos of her in Canada. But in truth, he watched her scream as they lowered her body into the red pit. He didn't flinch. He didn't cry. He called it loyalty to the throne. And in return, the gods silenced 2 EFCC cases, crushed 3 opponents, and gifted him a private jet. It was a fair trade. So when Madame Ruka called him, her voice cracking with desperation, accusing him of touching her child, he only laughed. To him, Ufoma wasn't a girl. She was a reminder that loyalty had no emotion, that sacrifice had no favorites, and that true power was the ability to smile while setting your own blood on fire. 10:27 p.m. Madame Ruka tore through the Lagos streets in her black Highlander, engine howling, eyes red, heart pounding like ancestral drums. Her scarf was off, no sunglasses, no lipstick, just a trembling pistol in her glove box, her second phone glowing beside her, and a fire in her chest that made her feel like a living bomb. She called Bala. No answer. She called again. 3rd time, he picked. Madam, she's in the batch. Silence. She's in the F-King batch, Bala, she screamed, swerving past a Danfo. My daughter. You people packaged my own daughter. Bala went quiet. Then, slowly. Madam, I know Sabi. Don't lie to me. I saw the manifest. Sunrise package, it's Ufoma. She slammed the steering wheel. They already moved her. Abuja bound. Ritual clearance. Oduwole's stamp is on it. Bala cursed. Shh, that one final level. I need to know where they're holding the girls before flight. You used to handle staging. Where's the current depot? Bala hesitated. Then, there's a safe house. Off Aja. Behind one uncompleted estate. Grey gate. No signboard. She hit the brakes. Screeched into a U-turn. Tires crying. Get there, she said. With fire if you have to. Then she ended the call. Her mind raced. What if she's already gone? What if she's already chained in a shrine? What if he's already touched her? What if I just gave my daughter to the very demons I've fed for years? She punched the dashboard, screaming. No, not today. 11:02 p.m. Aja, Lagos. The safe house looked like nothing. A grey building with no paint. Iron gate. Black van parked out front. 2 guards playing cards in the compound. Until the gate exploded. Boom. The guards turned too late. Ruka came in shooting. 1 to the leg. 1 in the shoulder. She moved like a ghost from hell, barefoot, jaw tight, gun raised. "Where are the girls?" They screamed. "Back room, back room." She kicked open the door and froze. There they were, 5 girls, drugged, tied, mouths gagged, bags packed beside them, one already unconscious, another crying softly. But not Ufoma. She ran to them, untied the nearest one. "Where's the 6th girl?" The girl shook her head, eyes wild. They moved her earlier. Private client, VIP flight, different transport. They said, Abuja, by midnight. Midnight. Ruka looked at the clock. 11:09 p.m. She had 51 minutes. She called Bala. "Abuja flight. Private strip. Where's the VIP airfield?" "Badagry Road. Old cargo terminal. No signboard. If they moved her already." "I'll get her before they land," Ruka snapped. "Stay with the other girls. Burn this place." Then she climbed into the black van parked outside the same one they'd used to pick up her daughter and drove like death itself. 11:42 p.m. Private terminal. Outskirts of Lagos. Floodlights glowed dimly over a rusted airstrip. A private jet waited. Its door open, 2 men loading boxes. Ruka's car skidded into the compound. Before the guards could react, she fired a warning shot into the air. "Let her out, now." They ducked. One raised a gun. She shot his knee. Another tried to run. She shot his tire. Everything stopped. She rushed to the SUV, flung the door open. "Ufoma," but it was empty. Her voice cracked. "No." She checked the other side. The trunk, the floors. Still, nothing. Ruka stepped back, dazed. Her gun dropped to her side. Her knees buckled, but her rage held her up. They'd played her. Ruka stood frozen by the SUV, staring at the empty seat like it was a coffin. The smell of her daughter's coconut hair cream still lingered. But her body, her voice, her presence, gone. Her hand trembled. Her pistol dangled uselessly at her side. And then her phone rang. Unknown caller. She didn't hesitate. She picked up. "Mother hen," the voice said smoothly. Her blood turned ice. "Senator Oduwole. You showed up, guns blazing. Not bad. I didn't know you had this much. Balls." She didn't speak. Her teeth clenched. Her hand gripped the phone like it was his throat. "But then again," he continued, "you were always a survivor. Smart, fast, dangerous, just not quite fast enough." Her eyes welled. "Where is she?" He laughed. "I'm a step ahead, Ruka. Always have been. While you were playing assassin at the airstrip, she was being prepped. If you want to see your daughter again, come to the ritual ground." Her breath caught. "Tonight." He hung up. No location, no time, no second chance. Just tonight. Just the ritual ground. The same place Ruka had sent so many other people's daughters. Now, it was calling hers. She looked up at the jet, then down at the pistol in her hand. He hung up. The call ended. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was suffocating. Ruka stood there beside the empty SUV, the jet engine still humming, the blood of 3 men on her hands, and she finally let go. Her knees gave out. She dropped to the ground and screamed, not loud, not wild, just broken. "Why her?" she whispered, voice shaking. "Why, my baby?" She hit the ground with her fists. "I gave you everything. I fed you girls. I paid the price. I stayed silent." Tears ran down her face, hot and unfiltered, a type of crying she hadn't done since the day her husband died. She rocked back and forth, whispering her daughter's name over and over, like a prayer that had already been denied. "Ufoma, Ufoma, Mummy's sorry." Then slowly she stopped. Her breath steadied, her fists unclenched, and something inside her changed. Not healed, Not restored, but reforged. She wiped her face with the back of her bloody hand, stood up slowly, and picked her gun back off the floor. You took the wrong child. I'm not begging. I'm coming. She turned, walked past the wrecked SUV, and disappeared into the shadows of the night. A mother. A monster. A reckoning. 1:02 a.m. Deep in the Ogun forest. The air was thick, too still. The forest swallowed light. Only the flicker of fire from within the ritual compound pierced the darkness. Ruka stepped through the arch barefoot, bleeding, breath heavy. The red clay stuck to her soles. Bats cried overhead. Her pistol, already emptied. Her spirit, not yet. The moment she entered the shrine clearing, she saw them. Senator Oduwole, draped in a white agbada embroidered with cowrie shells, gold ring on every finger, calm, unbothered, watching. And beside him, Baba Ifagbemi, the high priest, shirtless, body painted in white chalk and black ash, chanting in a low voice, cutting dried leaves into a calabash. At the center of the ritual circle, surrounded by lit candles and chalk symbols, Ufoma, tied, eyes wide, gagged, dressed in a red wrapper, lying on the floor like an offering. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Ruka screamed, "No!" She stumbled forward, arms shaking. "Stop, please, I'm here now. Take me instead. She's innocent. She knows nothing about this life. I'm offering myself," she said. "Let my daughter go. Let this end." The priest looked up from his book of incantations. He seemed amused. "Orier Tibaje, Madam Ruka. You can't bribe the gods with old wine. You gave them virgins, innocence. You think they'll accept you. I've shed enough blood. Let mine end it." The senator laughed. "You think this is redemption. You think this makes you a hero." Senator Oduwole turned slowly, a cruel smile playing on his lips. "Madam R, look at you." He chuckled, the queen herself, begging. Ruka dropped to her knees. Her voice cracked. "Please, I gave you everything. Girls, silence, names, loyalty. Just let her go. Let my baby live." Baba Ifagbemi looked up from the calabash and spat into the fire. "She is clean, unused. Her blood is strong. The spirits already accept her." Ruka grabbed his ankle. "Take me instead. You want blood? Take mine. Take my eyes. Take my heart if you must. Just not her." Senator stepped forward, calm as death. "You don't get it, do you?" He crouched beside her. "You are expired currency, Ruka, spent, tainted. You've delivered so many girls to this altar that the gods already drank their fill of you. You are empty. You are ash. A meaningless sacrifice." Ruka sobbed, her face to the dirt. "Please, I beg you." "Begging," he laughed, "from the same woman who sold her soul in bundles of 4. Now you want mercy." Then he snapped his fingers, and 2 men grabbed her. Hard. She fought, screamed, bit one of them, reached for her pistol. Gunshot. It flew from her hand and landed in the fire. They threw her to the ground. The priest began chanting, pouring palm oil into a circle, lighting a white candle that refused to flicker, even in the wind. "You think you decide the rules," the senator said, crouching near her face. "You don't. You never did. This is our world, Ruka." Ruka's voice cracked. As the priest raised the dagger, a loud bang echoed from the trees. Then another. Then, screaming, someone was coming. And they weren't alone. The first shot came from the trees. It struck one of the masked guards square in the back. He dropped with a thud. The second shot shattered the clay pot used for blood offerings. The ritual scattered. The priest dropped the dagger and dove for cover. The senator cursed and ducked behind the wooden box, pulling a small pistol from his agbada. "Who dey shoot? Who be that?" Ruka, still on her knees, used the chaos to roll toward the fire where her own pistol had landed. Her fingers burned as she grabbed it from the flames. The metal scorched her palm, but she didn't flinch. Pain meant nothing now. Bam! She fired into the air. "Drop your weapons or die like pigs," she shouted. Then, from the edge of the forest, 2 shadows emerged, Jane and Bala. Jane was holding a torchlight, and Bala held a pump-action shotgun, one hand bleeding, one eye swollen, but his rage untamed. "Madam say nobody touches her daughters," Bala growled. "I day here to collect debt." Senator Oduwo stood up slowly. "You came here to collect debt? Bala, you day craze. You see, years ago, before he pulled a gun on Senator Oduwole, before he rescued Madam Ruka's daughter from the jaws of ritual death, Bala was the senator's most trusted shadow. They called him the executioner in hushed tones across Ogun, Abuja, and Ilorin. Not because he killed recklessly, but because when he struck, everything disappeared. Witnesses, evidence, people. He was precise, fast, deadly, and most importantly, loyal. Or so the senator believed. 3 years earlier, Aso Drive, Abuja. Senator Oduwole was in his study, swirling a glass of Hennessy when he said, "You, Bala, are not a bodyguard. You're a pillar. If I am the system, then you are the gun beneath the table." Bala said nothing. He never said much. But he knew what he was, the senator's cleaner, collector, and courier. The one who handled deliveries when things got messy. The one who silenced gossip before it became testimony. He ran drop zones across Lagos and Port Harcourt. He handpicked girls for export, for rituals, for blackmail setups. He delivered coded ledgers to occult groups masked as NGOs. He even once killed a DPO in Ibadan. No fingerprints, no trace. Case disappeared. The senator trusted Bala more than his own blood. "If Nigeria had 10 of you," Oduwole once said, "I'd already be president." But what the senator never knew was this. Bala's loyalty didn't belong to him. Not truly. It belonged to Madam Ruka, and it always had. But the tension was growing. Each time he looked in the mirror, he saw a man holding 2 knives, one in each hand. But only one woman had ever given him a reason to live. So he made his choice. Quietly, gradually, he began saving names, recording calls, copying manifests, building leverage, because he knew the day would come when the senator would go too far. That day came with Ufoma. When he heard her name on the manifest Sunrise package, he knew. Ruka had trusted the system for too long, and now the system was eating her alive. That was when Bala crossed the line. And that was why the senator's rage exploded when Bala pointed a gun at him at the ritual ground. Back to the present. Senator Oduwole's voice shook with something worse than anger. Wounded pride. "You were my right hand," he snarled. "I gave you power, land, women, everything. And you give me this?" Bala leveled his pistol, face stone cold. "You gave me blood. She saved my family." That made the senator pause, confused, his brow furrowed. "What family? What the hell are you talking about?" Bala's jaw tightened. He took one more step forward, lowering the gun slightly, not out of mercy, but for emphasis. "Timmy, my brother, the one you ordered beaten and left for dead over that failed drop 3 years ago." Senator blinked, slowly, digging through his rotten memory. "That courier, he disobeyed orders. He was leaking info." "He wasn't," Bala snapped, "but that never mattered to you. You had your dogs string him up, burn him, break him, and you gave the order to finish him." Oduwole scoffed. "So what? Another tool thrown away. What's your point?" "My point," Bala said, stepping closer, "is that while you were celebrating his death, Madam Ruka was faking it. She sedated him, smuggled him out through Cotonou, paid for his new life, gave him a second chance. You tortured my blood. She protected it." Oduwole's mouth opened, but nothing came out, because for the first time, he realized the man in front of him wasn't just a dog gone rogue. He was a loaded gun pointed by loyalty. And Oduwole had never been the target Bala served. Oduwole stirred, eyes twitching, hand reaching toward Bala's shotgun, and before anyone could react, he lunged. Bala turned too late. The senator grabbed the barrel. The 2 men crashed into the dirt, fighting for control. The gun twisted. Bala's elbow smashed into Oduwole's nose. Oduwole bit down on Bala's arm. They rolled in the dirt like animals. "You think you can end me?" the senator roared, eyes wide with madness. I built you. I own you. Not anymore, Bala roared back. They wrestled for the weapon. And then, bang. Everything froze. Oduwole's eyes widened. He slumped forward. This time, he didn't move. Bala pushed the heavy body off him and lay back, gasping. He had survived. But the ritual wasn't over. Senator Oduwo lay motionless on the floor, blood pooling around his agbada. Bala's hands trembled, his finger still curled around the trigger. He hadn't meant to fire, not like that. They had been struggling, and the bullet found its mark. The mighty had fallen. But there was no time to think, because behind them, Madame Ruka screamed. She had seen enough. Her daughter Euphoma was still bound inside the chalk-drawn ritual circle. Red wrapper, wrists tied, face soaked in tears, lips trembling. UFO, she cried out. Without thinking, without hesitating, Ruka ran. Straight into the ritual circle. The priest's chalk lines glowed faintly under the moonlight, a sacred space never to be touched. But Ruka didn't care. She crossed the line, dropped to her knees, and pulled her daughter out with shaking hands. You're okay, baby. You're okay, she whispered, cutting the ropes with a blade from her waist. They collapsed into each other, mother and daughter, holding tight, weeping, breathing as one. Then Jane rushed in from the shadows, falling beside them. They held each other, the three of them tangled in dirt and tears, broken but whole. Until a voice rose behind them, cold, ancient, mocking. Baba Ifagbemi, emerging from behind the shrine pillar, laughing darkly. You have done it now, Rukayat Omolara Bakare. You have stepped where no soul should step. You have broken the circle. You have offended the gods. Ruka turned, chest rising, eyes burning, then let them come. But Baba only smiled. He dipped his fingers in black powder, began chanting, and suddenly, the earth rumbled. Dust rose. The chalk circle glowed red, and Ruka's feet sank an inch into the soil. She looked down, her ankles being pulled by an unseen force. No, no. She struggled, clawed the dirt. Jane screamed. Euphoma clung to her, crying, Mummy. They tried to pull her out, fingers wrapped around her wrists, digging heels into the ground. But it was like the earth itself had claimed her. It's me they want, Ruka gasped, her voice cracking. I broke the vow. I gave the blood. Now they want mine. No, Jane cried. Don't say that, Euphoma sobbed. We can still... But Ruka shook her head. She pulled them closer. Her voice broke into a whisper. I'm sorry for all the darkness, for what I became. But I loved you. I love you both, more than anything I ever touched in this evil world. They were sinking fast now. Her waist was buried, legs numb. She grabbed their faces, pressed her forehead to each of theirs. Live good, live right, don't carry my curse. Suddenly Bala burst in, bloody, out of breath. He grabbed her shoulders, trying to lift her. No, we're not losing you. The sound of sirens echoed in the distance. Police. Time was out. Ruka shook her head again. Take them. Go, now. Bala froze. But then he looked at Jane, at Euphoma, and nodded. Then pulled the girls up and ran. As the sirens grew louder, and the night cracked open with red and blue lights, Ruka sank. The priest's chants reached their peak, until the ground sealed shut, and the forest fell silent. Dawn. Bala drove fast, through bush roads, past checkpoints. No one spoke. Euphoma clutched Jane's hand, both of them staring back through the rear window toward the trees, the gods, and the grave their mother had vanished into. No tears left, just silence, and memories that would haunt forever. Madame Ruka, human trafficker, mother, monster, martyr. She walked into hell, to pull her child out of it. The gods always collect. Sooner or later, everyone pays in blood. Madame Ruka paid with her life to save her daughters. But some blood doesn't wash off, and some stories don't end. They wait to be inherited.